I have to be really quick with this one. I can't mess around with y'all. I just wanted to just come real quickly before I shut down for the rest of the night. Okay? For the rest of the night, I just had to do this last one. I saw this about another black teen young man drowning while fishing on a boat with all white friends. Okay, I wish I could show you a better picture with the black man's face on the side, but it's not going to show up on the back on my green screen. I'm going to say this. I'm not going to get myself emotionally attached to every black man that dies while he's in the company of all white friends. You know why? Because when they were with all white friends, they feel safe, they feel more protected, and whatever it is that they wasn't with all black friends, they were with all white friends. So basically, by the way their life ends is the way they live their life here on this earth. That's the way I look at it. You was hanging with white boys, you thought white boys were more better homeboys than being with some brothers. So it is what it is, y'all. For all you know, you probably said the most, sat up there, you defended your white boys, just like I see what Officer Tatum does, the Hodge twins, and who else? April Chapman, and all of those be on their platform cooning, and they be sitting up there just tearing black people down, just talking all the negative stuff they can find on subjects or topics on black people. They never speak on nothing good that black people are doing in the community. They give no praise. Vince Everett Ellis said he had the nerve to say he'd rather celebrate July 4th than to celebrate Juneteenth. When I said it's okay to celebrate both because they both deal with American history, Black American history, and American history, period. So why are you being like, okay, it's better to celebrate July 4th instead of celebrating Juneteenth? They both mean the same thing. People fought for their freedom, and people were freed and their independence. They both fought for independence and freedom. So what's the difference? The black people fought for theirs, and the black and the white ones fought during the Revolutionary War, but black people were enslaved, and well, not all black people were enslaved. I can't really say all of that. That's a very, difficult topic because being a slave and everything, yes, black people were treated in a certain inhumane way during those times. But still, in all, we did fight for our freedom. We fought for it and we won, even in the Revolutionary War, even during the Civil War. We fought a lot of wars in America, whether you know it or not. That's why it's important to do American history because American history, Black America was always there throughout American history, but we get into that subject some other time. But what I'm saying is that we do got some coons that sit on their platform and they always talking down about black people, attacking black culture, saying all these things about black people on their platform around their whole all white audience. They never call out white people on their ignorance and some of their, misdoings, but they always attacking their own people. So I can't get myself emotionally attached when I hear stories like this. I'm sorry that happened. I pray that the family get the justice that they're looking for. I pray that there be a fair and good investigation of what really happened. That this young man went fishing with his white friends and he fell out the boat and he ended up drowning. But when he was living here on this land, on this earth, it did seem like he cared too much about being around a whole lot of white friends. So why should I get myself all caught up and emotionally, um, get all caught up in this stuff emotionally? You know what I'm saying? You see what goes on with black people all the time while they living, and they say the most horrible things about their own race of people. And then when something happened, they want you to come out there and fight for their justice. I'm not doing none of that, okay? The only person right now that I do feel I will fight for their justice is Kamalo Anthony right now. Not even for the Wiley Cohen, the little 1 year old. I'm sorry if people feel that way, but I feel that it was wrong for the police officer on his part to use that kind of aggressive force, okay, on his part. But as far as for them family members of the kids and all that other stuff, But I'm just saying how they put their child in a dangerous situation, and then on top of that, the police officer did not really truly have to use any firearm to, apprehend them. Okay, so I just feel that was wrong. And also for the young man that got shot in the back by the Korean guy, when I hear that story, that was something, I can go out there and get myself say, hey, that was wrong. You know what I'm saying? But this stuff going on right now with these young boys being on the boat with all their little white friends and everything. I'm not getting myself emotionally attached with that. I don't care who don't like it. I'm not getting myself emotionally attached with black kids that did never feel they wanted to be around black friends. They didn't want to have white black friends. They didn't hang out with black friends. And we saw that with Talvin, whatever his name is, that had the white girlfriend. Remember that story? So when we going through these crimes against black lives and black men dying on some mysterious way or on boat trips and 4th of July celebrations and stuff like that, and they were surrounded by nothing but white friends, I am not getting myself all caught up in that. And I would advise a lot of black people not to do the same, okay? They didn't care about your black ass or being around their own people when they were alive. So now when they dead and gone and they were died and the last people they were with white friends, okay? And they want you to put yourself out there on the battlefield. Not me. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's the way I feel. And that's the way I feel about all the Hodge twins. That's the way I feel about April Chapman and her children. And that's the way I feel about Vince Everett Ellison and his children. That's the way I feel about all of them. Jason Whitlock. You name it. When they time come, I'm gonna feel the same way. They sit up there and they do nothing but just tear down black people, always insulting us, always criticizing us, always calling us ratchet and ghetto, but they never talk about the good things that we do. They never get in the fight to get things done for the black community. All they do is sit on their platform and talk a whole lot of nonsense and tear down black people. So when this happens to their child, and especially the way they went at Carmelo Anthony. So when it happens to one of them, you think I'm gonna be emotionally attached to any of this? I'm sorry it happened. I'm sorry if it do happen. I pray God give you the strength and the comfort you need. But this is why it happens. Okay? I just pray God give you the comfort, the strength, and the justice that you be looking for when it do happen. But other than that, I'm not getting myself caught up in that fight. I'm not getting myself caught up in no emotions, no nothing. Because this is what they spoke on their children. When they moved their children out of the community around to be surrounded around people that look like them, and it's all they raised their kids around, right there, they sent their own message that they didn't like being black and they didn't like being around their own people. And they raised their kids with that kind of mindset. And this is what happens to their children. That's it. That's all. Because you could bring up some great children just living in a good community around good people, regardless to what color they are, especially around their own people. Because there's a lot of beautiful communities that are black communities, black owned homes and everything. Right out here is a whole neighborhood. Anthony was 17 years old. He was at a track meet. It was raining outside, and another young man, a friend, somebody he knew, invited him to be under the tent while it was the rain for the rain. Okay, I don't think he made the wrong choice. He was trying to get away when they all surrounded him, and he got scared. See, you don't know the whole story. You wasn't there. You only going on speculation. You only going on what other people said. I'm going on facts. Cause I probably would have poked somebody too to to get myself away. Rather one of them instead of me. Self defense. I wasn't there, but I could imagine if I was there and if it was me, I probably would have done the same thing. Yeah, so, well, you take it the way you want to take it, okay? Because that's the racist stuff in your heart. Let me get you out of here so you could just stay away from me. I don't want to hear that stupidness. We ain't going back to Anthony. We ain't going back. Just evil, racist white people. Can't mess with these people. Just leave, just stay out of my chat. Okay. So anyway, like I said, these boys right here, they were hanging with their white friend. He was hanging with his white friend. So I'm not getting myself emotionally all caught up with that. I'm really not. And I don't care what black person out there get mad after I see black people like April Chapman and what's his name, Vince Everett Ellison and those Hodge twins, Charleston White. They all canceled to me. I ain't got time to hear that because this is exactly the kind of kids they raise. This is how they want their kids to be raised around whiteness, around white proximity. They think white is greater. They like to be around white people. I like to be around anybody, but I just like a more diverse community. I'm sorry. I can't just be living in a neighborhood that's all black people or whatever type of people. I like the diversity that I live around. I live around a lot of diversity and around good, hardworking American people. That's the kind of community I like to see. I don't do the all black. I grew up in an all black neighborhood. Well, I wouldn't even say it was all black. Because in my life, growing up when I was a kid, I didn't have this issue because it was black, white, um, Italians, Irish. When I was growing up, I just never went to school really with and some Latinos, Puerto Ricans or whatever. I didn't grow up with these kind of immigrant of children. I didn't grow up with these South American Indian, I mean South American people and kids or whatever from that part of the world. I didn't grow up with them. I'm mostly the people that I grew up with around were Irish, Italian, and Puerto Ricans, maybe some Mexicans, and maybe some Cubans, and also Dominicans. I don't know nothing about all these other groups of South American, Latino groups of people and people from other places like African. No, African kids were only Africans we knew in my classroom were the ones that were dark like me that were American. Those the only we didn't have not one African in my classroom, not one. I didn't grow up with no kids that were from Africa. Okay, I ain't grow up with none of them. I grew up with black American children. That's it. And white kids, as far as the white kids I grew up with, was Italian, Irish, and just regular white people. you know, and white Americans. And that's it. I didn't grow up with these people from all these other places of the world that's living here now in the United States of America. People like Mandani and Arab kids. They didn't go to school with me. I didn't go to school with Arab children. I didn't go to school with Chinese children, not even Japanese children. I didn't start to learn these people until I became an adult. I didn't know nothing about their culture and their language and their ways of life. Not even the Indian, those people from India. I don't know that. I didn't learn these people until I became an adult. Okay, God truly understands. I didn't know nothing about these people until I became an adult, and I had to deal with them in the business world, in the work world, and in that part of the world, and it's very difficult, very. But I didn't have a problem growing up with Puerto Ricans. I didn't have a problem growing up with Cubans. I didn't have a problem growing up with people from Mexico. I didn't have a problem with those kind of Latinos and Dominicans because I went to school with a whole lot of Dominicans and Haitians when I went to school in high school. And the Haitians were the new immigrants at that time. It was the Haitians, and they was in this. This is going back in the 80s, and they were in bilingual classes. It wasn't hardly any Haitians in my classroom. They had their own separate classrooms. They were in classrooms that were more bilingual because they didn't speak very well English. So they put them in bilingual classrooms. They were in my school, but they just didn't go to class with me. They wasn't in the classroom with me. Just put it that way. And that's when high school, and that was in the mid '80s. I didn't start learning all these doggone foreigners and these old immigrant children until I started working. These immigrants until I started working in the workplaces. That people came from all these different places of the world. And every time I heard an accent, I didn't know what part of the country they were from in the West Indies. I thought I always call everybody Jamaican. No, I'm not Jamaican. I'm from here. I'm from there. I thought you was Jamaican. No, I'm from St. Vincent. I'm from St. You get like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? I used to just like know Jamaicans. I didn't know people from all these other places, and then I started building friendships with them. People from Trinidad and Trinidadians and people from those parts of the Caribbean islands. But I did not know them until I started, like I said, became an adult. And that's why I say it's important as you being an American that you got to pour as much you can of American history into your children so they know who they are, so nobody else will snatch that away from them and they get messed up with their true identity when they're young. You got to pour as much as them of their culture, their native language, their history, their everything in your children when they're young. So when they get old, nobody else won't come around and snatch away their identity. They out here in the world growing up with people you don't know where these people come from, and your kids following them. Look at these kids off the boat. This boy off the boat. You know what I'm saying? Drowning in the water. I mean, I was in the camp back in the days, young, when I was young. I went to camp with a whole bunch of white kids in my bunk. Ain't no black kids was in there. Ain't no shit like this ever happened to me. See, because we wasn't like that. We grew up, even coming out of Jim Crow and segregation, the white kids were nice to me. They didn't act like these white kids. My white friends didn't try to kill me and put me in a boat somewhere. And we went swimming in the lake. Me and my little white bunkers, when we was in the bunk and everything, we used to go swimming in the lake when we used to be out in camp. Ain't no injury or no harm or nothing came to us. Our parents knew how to cover us and prayed for us, and we went on to camp with the Catholic Church where my mother used to be a member of. Okay, in the community. So ain't none of this shit ever happened to nobody in my family. I'm sorry. We went to school about a whole lot of white kids, and we ain't never had to deal with this kind of problem. Only time we ever dealt with it was the KKK, call they so KKK, whatever, up there in Binghamton, New York. Call they so burning crosses and everything around black people lawns and stuff. That shit didn't even bother us. We just looked and thought it was a campfire. Okay? It didn't even bother us. We didn't even get mad about it. We used to laugh about it. We used to be excited to see it because we never saw it. We saw movies about it. But for some reason, it didn't bother us. We thought it was a goddamn campfire. We're like, what the hell? We ain't see the ghosts. We didn't see them with they hoodies on and everything, but we saw the fire. But it didn't even bother us. We thought that shit was a damn campfire. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But anyway, I'm just saying these black boys dying with their wool all white crew friends and stuff. I am not getting emotionally, I'm sorry, attached to none of that. Matthew 7, verse 7, Matthew 7, 21, 23. Get away from me. You didn't know me when you was alive, so don't try to get to know me now. You dead and gone. You made your choice and you gotta lay at it. With that being said, God bless you. Good night. Peace.